Right. Decided to make a video, force myself to make a fucking video really, because I can't really be bothered with it all. It just drives me around the fucking bend, but I do need to fucking cross the T's, dot the I's, whatever fucking bollocks. I can't really give a shit. I'm just gonna waffle, see how this fucking comes out. Maybe show people a fucking training. Do another little training fucking thing. Now if you look there, like that's just done on that camera, at certain angles, in certain lights, I get like a line down there. But they are, from what I can gather, is they are, and then when I come back here, it's not there, but they are imposing that on there. Same way I took a photo the other day. Now I know my face better than anyone else because I'm a fucking mental patient, prisoner, that for the majority of my life, I've been fascinated by my own face in a mirror, and I'm a complete mental patient, and I'm my own best friend. 6.5 fucking billion people, and because I've grew up more or less as a lonely child and spent large amounts of that in solitary confinement, bang up, locked inside a tiny little room with no real form of entertainment. As a child, you get toys for Christmas and things like that, but a toy is just like it's just a waste of money, and kids only want the toys is because they see the toys on TV, they look fantastic on the TV. Other kids also have the toys, that everybody wants the toys, yet you get the toys, they either break, don't do anything what they look like they are going to do on the fucking TV. And I shouldn't have like these massive eyebrows that come up my head. I'll correct it, in certain shots it may do that, but someone at work enlightened me to, well, Liam 175, he might not be Liam 175, but I'll call the cunt Liam 175. But he basically started to videotape me, and it come up like literally within a split second. It can change my whole appearance and put a beard on me, a chain round my neck, and all of these. And there's like some mad technology that they have out there now that can literally change your appearance in a split second using the camera. But anyway, I don't really give a fuck. You know, I've given up on fucking any positive things happening until I can do, well, if I've got to do a lot of negative things. It may not be that. This world could literally be, just quickly, this is a fictional TV series for Netflix called The Exampla, the son of the creator. I'm El Capitan, the star of that TV series, the son of the creator. Everything in this video is completely fictional and for entertainment purposes. Anyway, yeah, he enlightened me to that. And just quickly, while I'm on the subject, I made a video a while back in Luton about the maximum security prison that we now live in, and he also enlightened me to something else, which I did sort of know about, because the geezer out the back of who lived out the back of my house, my old best mate, his dad had a doorbell camera like fucking in the mid-90s with an intercom system. But I've been trying to order another fucking walking stick, yeah? I can't get one. I think it's now looking to me like it's fucking deliberate. I ordered one that looked identical to my one, although it was made out of a different type of wood. What turned up was a fucking lightweight fucking twig that I sent back. I was then told, oh, they can get, because I'm looking on the internet elsewhere to get another, see if I can order something else. I was then told that they could get these sticks, but they've been cut and they're waiting to dry. Then I've had another email 3 weeks later that someone had died at Classic Canes, which is the only place you seem to be able to buy a fucking walking stick from, and that it's going to be another while. So it's like nearly it's like well over 2 months now that I've been trying to obtain a walking stick that resembles my walking stick, because I've paid the money and the people have got it. So they're to me it's like they're deliberately stalling. I don't give a fuck about a walking stick. In fact, my walking stick as a single item is an efficient weapon on many fronts if it needs to be used as a weapon in the fictional TV series for Netflix. Now, one, it's a club, a very vicious club if used in the correct way. It's also a way that you can also snap people's bones. So you use that and you lose the leverage on your body to wrap, twist, spin round, over the shoulder, round the, there's many ways you can use that stick. Now, and sometimes it's better to have a free hand than not, you know. It can move very quickly in a 360 degree round my body, especially when I do a few spins and that with that. Now, yeah, I ordered it to his house because obviously I don't have an address. Now, or I don't have access to the property that I use as my address anymore. And he enlightened me to doorbell cameras. And then I looked where I was working, and nearly every house does a doorbell camera. So like every house has a camera on it that is videotaping, and it goes through an app. So he's able to, when someone goes near the door or rings the doorbell, it triggers the app so that he is able to talk to the people, and like via FaceTime or however the fuck it works. But he's able to talk to them and tell them where the delivery is meant to go. So they are literally of maximum security. Every road has literally cameras on every road that the authorities have access to. Just because they don't claim that they have access to them doesn't mean that that's not what they're doing. They're not honest people. That's what you're dealing with, mental patients. And I'm at the stage where, I've been shown in this virtual reality that, it literally is real. You are fighting a losing battle if you're going to try to get through to mental patients in any way, shape or form. Like I said, if I was able to get into the main media as a star or something like that, or something happened in a different world, it could be done that way. So I sort of prepare for that, although this world ain't that. I'm not sure I'll ever get to that in this world. At the minute, I'm just sort of learning the survival skills. I'm learning to be, and I'm learning to accept that I'm on my own. Even if I got something down to a certain level where I was able to do something on a big scale, I can't trust anyone. Everyone would be put at things. I have no friends, no family, because I don't trust anyone. No one has given me any reason to give them any trust, meaning that, ultimately it has to start by, you tell me the truth on every aspect of every fucking thing. So I've never met anyone that does that. So, the case, and the authorities would target everyone. And the parable in the story of Jesus is that you can't trust another person, because they will deceive you for money and power. To the authorities, meaning that could end up in your death. So, even if it came down like that, I've given up on it all. At the moment, I've decided I'm not even going to bother getting with a woman. I've got no intentions. I don't even need to have sex with them anymore. I'm not even sure it's all that. The majority of my lifetime, I've not had sex that many times sober. Nearly the majority of the time has been spent drunk or on drugs. And without that, it's never that memorable. It's certainly not that memorable in my psyche. I can't think back to remember. And the time in my life where I had the most sex was the most miserable time in my life, the most miserable period of my life, which was when I was with my son's mum. Well, it wasn't actually. The most miserable time in my life was when I'd split up with my son's mum and she was doing nothing and her family were doing nothing but causing me problems with my son. That was the worst time, and they ruined the whole thing. Being a dad, I'm not a dad anymore, was the worst experience of my life. There's moments in it that were the best experiences, meaning that it taught me how valuable life was, how precious and how sacred it all is. And that it's big, it's massive. And magical. The whole experience of being a parent. When my son was born, I didn't want to have a kid. I was lied. His mum lied to me, told me she couldn't have kids, and told me she was on the pill as well. And while going around telling all her friends that we were trying for a fucking baby. I've told my boy all of this, so I'm not saying anything. You know, when I spoke to him, we had a number of conversations about a number of things. Yes, most miserable time, and it was being with her didn't make me happy. And the only reason I got with her was because I was sick of fucking sitting about fucking wanking and all of that, and you want sex on tap. I shouldn't have got with her. I should have got with that little fucking cunt prostitute from Waterslade Green. I wanted her for fucking the whole of my fucking childhood, and when I had her, I didn't want her because she'd hurt me a few times, and at that stage, I weren't having that going to happen to me again. And well, that's that. By a very young age, you build up barriers where you don't want to feel hurt, upset, and you've been bombarded with the love thing. I want to get into the love thing on another video, but and relationships and all of that. But yeah, being a dad was like I'm glad it's all over. I'm glad the whole fucking thing is over, and I don't have another human being depending on me. And it isn't. It's not. I haven't been there. It's 7 years now. 7 years, you know, that I haven't been a dad. So, you know, it's a long time. I don't love my boy. I want him to be okay. I'd like for him to be okay, but I'm not sure being on, oh, my path is okay. It's okay for me. Well, it's what I've got and it's what I've got to do. I've got no fucking choice in the matter. You know what I mean? I am the most happiest I've ever been in my life, but I definitely don't get as many moments of fucking joy. And I definitely, although I sort of do in a way, because I'm always laughing and joking, but my night can end up being fucking laughing, joking one fucking minute and crying and fucking being upset the next. It's just the fuel for the fire that, you know, it makes me understand. I know that everything I do is justified and you know, is necessary. You know, it may be evil to some people, but it's necessary evil ultimately. It's necessary evil. Because in a world full of fucking disgusting fucking cunts, drugs, prostitution, filth, and disgustingness, mental asylum, it's impossible to take that system down to stop the destruction of creation without doing acts of evil. You know, if you think you're going to walk around doing hippie shit, they've done that over and over again. Like I've pointed out before, that's what they do. They get mental patients to understand that there's a system in place and that the world is fucked and it ain't good and it should be about nature and shit like that. And then they tell them that peace and love is the way forward, when, you know what I mean, that's been done over and over and over and over again, and that is their agenda, because it just gets wackos sitting around on drugs. which is their agenda, and has been their agenda, and that's the way they've always done it. It's been going on since the fucking 60s with the hippies. I think it was the 60s, I weren't there, so whatever fucking year it was, or decade it was the hippies were peace and love, flower power and all of that. The system, the state is trying to get you down, you know, and they're all on fucking drugs, hallucinogens, like no different from the same shit they're coming out with now. Yeah, so I'm glad the whole thing, the whole ordeal is over and done with. It was nothing but stress, worry, and time consuming, draining, that took me to the worst places of drug addiction. My son, the man my son knows as his dad, was me at my worst in my life. Me at my worst. Cretin, little cunt, junky little fucking wacko. That's who my son knows as his dad. I've spoke to him about it. I hid it from him. His mum didn't. His mum doesn't. He's just oblivious to everyone around her. She's just a cunt that, you know, she fucks over her friends, she fucks over her family, she fucks over her own kids. She's just a selfish scumbag little princess that does not give a fuck about anyone else. But that said, she does have like a weird, very good side about her, which a lot of human beings do, which is sort of some of the points I want to try and make. As a whole, human beings aren't bad. There's a good side to nearly every human being. But the rotten programming and selfishness of society takes over the good, and it dominates every good and it overtakes. It's like every person I meet I see good in them. I know there's good in every human being, and that a human being should be good to each other like every other species. No other species kills itself like a human being. That's not how creation works. Creation works as all species stick together. You may get slight discrepancies over territory, but you definitely don't get like the massacres that take place on human beings. And everything about childbirth and birthing and the overpopulation and the overbreeding of human beings comes down to religion, marriage, separation to individual families, and breeding out of season, and people thinking that they can produce as many offspring as they want, which is destroying the entire landscape. But the main problem here is the flooding of the place with people from other lands, which is the main cause of the destruction of the landscape. Like massive, like more destruction than words can put into fucking thing. Yeah, so I'm just gonna get drunk a little bit, and I'm gonna smoke a fucking little bit of hash. Now, these two drugs are drugs that I've been taking since using, however you want to fucking put it, since the age of 9 or 10 for hash, and I think I was 11. I think you're 11 when you go into high school drinking. Maybe I was 10. I smoked hash. Now, what's not... Yeah, what I was saying was, what I've given up on the women shit. I can't be bothered with them. I can't listen to a mental patient. The more I'm in the asylum, the less I want to listen to it. And the truth is, I've not liked listening to women for the majority of my life. Certainly after child age. I used to have good women friends as a child, like girls that I was best mates with, or certain best mates with, or very good friends with. But when you get to a certain age, you know, it then starts to become something else. Sex gets in the way. And I just can't be bothered listening to their bollocks. End of. It's just gunk, you know. Since I split up with my boy's mum, I can only put up with it for very short periods of time, one night here and there. I don't want to hear it. I don't even want to talk to them in the week. It gets down to, even if it's someone that I've seen more than once, more than a one night stand, it would literally be like they start texting me like, "What you up to?" And I'll just text back, "Trying to watch fucking TV." You know, what are you texting me for in a week? You know, I don't want to talk to you about anything in the week. You know, I'll talk to you when I fucking see you. So otherwise, we're not going to have anything to talk about. I don't want to sit there listening to you repeat the same bullshit over and over and over again. I'm not interested in it. I've never really been interested in women's bollocks, and I definitely could never ever live with a woman ever again. It's a horror show. It was just like the worst period of my life, because one of the main reasons was because I couldn't talk to myself. So I became lonely, even though I'm in a house with someone else. It was the most loneliest period of my time, even though I was living with someone, sleeping in the same bed as them. That's what made it lonely, because I'm a mental patient that loves my own company, down to the fact that I was kept in a... And I'm someone who socialised loads. What does that say about the world? You know, these are all the problems that are wrong with the world. So I've given up on all that. I'm not even going to bother. I think it helps anyway. I think when you're not sitting there watching pornography and you're not constantly bombarding yourself with images of naked females, for me, because I'm not a fucking bender or a fucking faggot, I find the opposite sex attractive. And if I'm not constantly bombarding my brain with images of them posing in provocative poses, masturbating, it's not like I've got a driving force in me to go out and get that. The reason I ended up going out to Thingy Bob Bristol was because I was with Liam175, and he goes to raves and all that, and I just got a bit excited by listening to him talk about them, and thought, yeah, fuck it, I'll go out, try and get some fucking woman and that. I wake up every day with an erection. I dream about women all the time, but I think it adds to the high levels of testosterone in my body, add to what I would call anger, controlled anger. You know, you've got to be angry about the world, and it adds to all of that. I'm a raging bull. And if you have too much sex, it can make you placid, lazy, and I'm not even sure it's that good for you the older you get. I'm certainly not got the sex drive I had as a 19-year-old fucking a teenager. And most of what I would call my sex drive came down to intoxication, using narcotics. Alcohol doesn't get me horny as such. It does if I'm around females. If I'm around females and I'm drinking, then I can start to fucking get a little bit fucking fruity. But if you add ecstasy, cocaine, or any of those narcotics into my body, then my brain will quickly just twist up and become perverted, because it associates that drug with sex, and cocaine is a like a scientific invention by the authorities to pervert people into acts of sex, unnatural sex. Ecstasy does exactly the same. If I put ecstasy in my body, it triggers exactly the same things as cocaine. It's more or less identical. Because I used to have a lot of sex on those things, and then it just triggers, the brain will run out of control once you start to put them in, and you obviously then sit around masturbating as well when you haven't got lucky and you haven't managed to fucking get a partner that night. When you're on your own, it just ends up in hardcore masturbation, you know what I mean, in a giant fucking weird mental asylum. So, you know, when I'm not, well, I've taken, you know what, I don't take drugs. I don't even smoke dope that often now. So it's like, I won't even smoke anything until bedtime. Well, evening time, when it's time for me to, when I'm time for me to get a little bit high, then I'll eat some food and go to bed. I don't even very rare, I limit it. It's down to 3 pipes maximum, and I'm lucky to smoke 3 pipes, so less than one joint's worth. And I've gone down from having a few £100 a week habit, which is a massive drug addiction, which is what I want to get to, which is what I want to talk about, is drug addiction. At the minute, I struggle not to drink. I like having a few beers a day and a few bits of hash, and it makes me sleep very well. So without that, I'm not chilled. It could start affecting my life, and I'd start getting upset about that. At the minute, I'm very chilled, very happy doing those little things. 4 cans, 3 bowls, and less than a joint's worth of hash. Now, I smoked hash at probably 9 or 10. I'm a baby. My environment is not my doing. My aim is to fit in and be liked, which is what every human being wants. They want to fit in and be part of a group which is bigger than them. They want to be part of a herd. I grew up on a small little council estate, but there was loads of kids, so it's like over 20 kids my age group, because what they do is these little council estate, these little housing association estates, they put all the new mothers there, single or young people who've just having babies. So they're there, well over 20 kids, loads of kids. The whole estate of about 100 houses, there was fucking nearly every house had a child within 3 years of me, up or down. Well, obviously up when I was younger, but you know, there was loads of kids. Now, what I want to get to is immigration and drugs. Because what I'm not going to listen to, well, I'm not going to listen to anyone anyway. My only option to stop me doing very fucking bad things is for people to see some sense and reason and get out of their mental illness and their programming. Now, up until the Second World War, this country, forget all the cartoon bullshit fucking tales, was designed and created to be a white country, meaning it was populated by white people. And after the massacre of all the males in 2 world wars, they then decided to flood this place with immigrants from around the world. Now, as I've pointed out before, the 2 places that took place from were the Caribbean and India and Pakistan to start with. Now, drugs don't grow here. They don't grow here. The coca leaf comes from the Caribbean in Colombia, which is South America, which is right next to and South America, which is next to the Caribbean. Heroin and cannabis, by the way, comes from the Caribbean. So cannabis, weed, hashish, and cocaine comes from the Caribbean. Heroin, hashish, and weed comes from India and Pakistan and Afghanistan, that region. Before the Second World War, those drugs were not here. That is not up for fucking discussion. No one is going to tell me that my life never took place. No one's going to tell me anything, because I would execute them at will until they shut up and do as they are fucking told. And that'll be the end of it. Or my life won't be that. It will be literally getting to a level and seeing what goes on. I will do everything according to what I will see as aggression on my life. Quid pro quo, it will go one way or another. And that will include an attack on my son as well. I don't like him, but I won't tolerate anyone targeting him. So if that ever comes to light that has been taken place, then, you know, ultimately, you know, people can pay for it. So, I'm 8 or 9 years of age. No, 9 or 10, sorry. And I'm taking drugs. How did I get drugs? black geezer on my fucking estate, a little cunt called Owen, was selling drugs to all the children. Because what takes place, and people don't understand this, is that every single fucking council estate in the entire fucking country has drug dealers strategically put in place through the awarding of council houses and how Freemason to ensure crime. Cannabis on the outside, like I've already pointed out, on the outside, what things don't look bad, like a school teacher, cannabis is the worst fucking drug of all. Not in its effects, but in the money that you need to purchase it, and the fact that most people start by using, smoking cannabis before they progress on to other drugs. And it is normally the outlet of cannabis that then leads them into being drawn to other things. Now, as a child, what used to take place was that everybody knew it because he was selling dope to a lot of people on the estate. So everybody knew who the drug dealer was. Marsh Farm had black drug dealers, Rastas. Rumfold was the same. Now they give it to white people in the end, but it came from the Rastas. And how did that take place? The advertising of cannabis was done through reggae and someone called Bob Marley. One love, peace and love, one love, and all that. You're meant to, because you're meant to show foreign invaders to your land, one love. But the only racist religion on earth is the Rastafarian religion, which preaches that white people are to blame for slavery and they needed to be, they got to pay for that, and the whole world is Africa, which it is because Africa conquered the world. And they're even claiming that now, and they brought civilization. So what took place was that this country was invaded, conquered. They set up foreign monarchy, or people loyal to that monarchy then left to then install the thing of white rule around the world, using the media using the media and the education system, which was set up after the Second World War, to blame white people for the world while invading those countries. And they use the word racism is the weapon that they use, because they used the symbol of Hitler to do that, to brand anyone saying, why is our country being invaded by foreigners? Now, just on a economical slave point of view, what immigration does is push house prices up and keep wages down in real terms. Now, people are mental patients and don't understand economics. When you don't look at the figure, it's not the figure that it is the important thing, is what you can purchase for that amount of currency, which is the value of currency, not the figure. So 200 doesn't make it worth more than 100 if 100 can buy you a lot more stuff than 200 can many years ago. So in real terms, the value of money has gone down, and wages have been kept down while house prices have rocketed, caused by immigration, because there is a lack of housing to house the immigrants, meaning that the indigenous then are punished for that, and that the businesses have an abundance of workers, so can come up with any fucking of their rules and their conditions that suit them over the worker, as and when they fucking choose, and keep wages on a low. And with the landscape, and anyway, yeah, so my estate, there was this drug dealer called Owen. Now, there was a number of black people on my estate, Rastas, other people. And what used to take place was the Rastas, we all knew, because we wouldn't be able to get drugs. So you watch the films, because it's about building up the reputation of these things. So you watch Mark for fucking Death, and that's all on the fucking TV, and then they give you the fucking scenes on the fucking streets. So they make sure that, you know, you go to get your dope, and I'm waiting for the delivery. I'm waiting to be the next drop off. So then all the kids are waiting for the delivery to get their drugs. So then the Rastas come up in their BMW, drive down the close where there's a few black people down there, the Rasta Farian family that didn't socialise with anyone. And then you had people who my best mate's dad's family. So the Rastas will go down there, see them first, and then drive up round the corner to Owen's house to fucking drop off the fucking drugs. Now, so we're all watching this. As kids, you watch it. Everywhere you go, you know what I mean? Marsh Farm was run by the Rastas. Ran by the Rastas. And Roach's fucking, the geezer who was going out with Roach's fucking sister, he got tucked up by them motherfucking Rastas, and they made him fucking hold drugs for them, and then he got busted for that, and he ended up doing fucking serious time for that. He was a child, they're getting bullied, you know. And another person that I know who's no longer around, a mixed race geezer from Marsh Farm, tall geezer, another T. He ended up doing some mad shit, and fucking, because of the Rastas wanted money, because his rumour had it that his old man owed him a load of money. That was another person that I fucking knew as a fucking young fucking kid. You know, it's not my fucking, not that close, but I met him at Splash. He's dead now. He died years ago. He died of cancer, but you know, drugs, prison, smoking, all the things that society gives you are the cause of that. And this is another geezer who, he was there. I met him at Splash, and this geezer was nothing but a fucking comedian, like the funniest geezer you could fucking imagine. He was another fucking absolute fucking comedian when I met him. And he's there when I'm first going, because I used to hang around with him, my best mate dad's, a load of us. I was mainly the only white fucking kid around with them. They're a load of mixed race kids, black kids. There was me, a couple of white kids, but most of the time I was the only white kid there. Now, I'm at fucking in Ritz's, getting off with my first girls in nightclubs and that, and he's behind me and that going, yeah, fucking hell, little fucking thing. And I saw him my whole life. He was going out with some girl up fucking Blakely Drive out the back of my fucking house. So I saw him my whole fucking life, you know what I mean? It's not like he's my best mate. I hung around with him my whole life, but he's a geezer that I knew for my whole fucking life. Someone that I got on with, you know what I mean? Yes, what's happening? You right? Yeah, safe. See you later. Fucking Exodus, I'd see him all the time. I saw him my whole fucking life. Another geezer who died extremely fucking young, and I think his brother fucking died for drugs as well. So that's another fucking 2 people dead from drugs. He ended up doing some mad shit, because he was forced into a lifestyle like that. And again, he's been warped by the media and this gang culture, this black American gang culture that was put onto the British public, and the yardie culture, the bad man culture, weapons, knives, and murder, and guns. That is in ragga, not reggae. Reggae is the peace and love bullshit, and ragga is very fucking aggressive and violent, and about guns and knives and killing people and bitches. You know, the same shit that fucking the American and hip hop is. That is the other weapon that was used against the fucking children. I've lost what I was fucking saying now. But yeah, the Rastas. So you watch the films and the Rastas fucking turn up and they're fucking bringing the fucking drugs. The Rastafarian religion is anti-white. Anti-white. It's an anti-white religion. It's the only racist religion on earth. But it sings peace and love in the fucking media with the fucking songs, because the power of the media is that you can get the victim to look like the perpetrator, and that get the perpetrator to look like the victim. Now, nobody is going to tell me that the media has not portrayed poor black person and horrible white person for the entirety of my existence. You ain't going to tell me that that's the place of the media. And this country was invaded by people who bought drugs that have poisoned and murdered vast amounts of the people that I would class as my family, and he is no different from what I would class as my tribe, because he's that geezer I just explained about. I didn't know his brother, but he was. He's someone like I said, he's not my best mate, but he's someone I've seen my whole life. Yes, I was fucking happening. Good, yeah, fucking safe. Yeah, what's happening? Have a little laugh with them at the raves, at the clubs, wherever you fucking see him. I saw him my whole life, literally my whole fucking life. That's another place. There's like well over fucking like 30 people, I think. I'm going to go over some of the things. So if anyone wants to talk to me about fucking bullshit fucking little cunt fucking cartoon fucking world about crimes of fucking in the past, I will bring up crimes of the fucking present, and I will fucking trump your fucking ass on every fucking avenue. You want to fucking take that against real fucking love and hate, I'll fucking give you real love and fucking hate. Because I love that geezer, not like like my best mate dad, but he's someone, you know what I mean, that I love being around. You know what I mean? The geezer was a fucking comedian and would have me in stitches and was always nothing but fucking good to me. And like I said, I saw him my whole fucking life. Someone, you know what I mean? I don't even go out, but you know, I don't see the geezer anymore. I haven't seen him for fucking years. But someone I would always see, and yes, what's happening? Another person that I fucking knew and grew up, and I class as my family and my tribe. Now, my tribe, if you're someone that just looks at fucking one little thing, you want to focus on every negative thing that's being fucking said and not any positive things that's said, you're someone that I don't give a fuck about, and I want you dead anyway. You're a fucking little cunt. Anyway, back to cannabis. Now, cannabis causes crime because children don't have the money. So they make sure that every council estate has a drug dealer there to supply drugs to those children. And not only to those children, but then you get all the rich kids, because my estate was full of fucking rich little fuckers, Big D's mates that used to come up to get weed and all that as well. So even though they're from like good homes, like where there's, I wouldn't say good home, because every home is fucking broken in the entire fucking mental asylum. But they've got money and things like that. But even they, you know, they can get money from their parents, where the poor kids can't get money from their parents, so that they end up resorting to crime, which is exactly what took place on my estate. And they all started fucking robbing cars, burgling and fucking robbing people. So no one's going to tell me that that doesn't take place and that's not organised, because that creates the crime state. While at the same time the media is blaming everyone that says anything towards an immigrant as racist. Well, this geezer was able to organise street parties in our whole fucking place, like playing like he's the pillar of the fucking community on this estate, when he was the cause of all the crime that took place on that estate for drugs. Putting on street parties and shit. You know what I mean? Which was council sanctioned. So at 8 or 9, 9 or 10, sorry, you're a fucking, I'm a child, I'm a baby, a maggot. So if all the kids and all everyone around you is all, and all you see in the media is people smoking dope and it's made to look cool, yeah man, everyone's smoking it, the rastas, the reggae music, man, it's safe, yeah, it's cool, blah. You're gonna smoke it. That ain't my fault, is it? How's that my fault as an 8-year-old kid? Same way that it ain't my fault that the media done nothing but show me murder and killing my entire fucking existence either, is it? No. It's not my fault that I was born to a fucking a mum who'd had a kid at fucking 16 that didn't want me, and a nan who just lost her fucking husband. It ain't my fucking fault either, is it? No. It's not my fault that I suffered fucking beatings and violence that has turned me into a fucking madman. Either, is it? No. Because I didn't do that to myself, did I? No, because I wouldn't want to. No one would do that to them fucking selves, would they? No, you're a victim of your environment. Everybody. Whether you're a victim like I was a victim, or you're a different victim, and sometimes the rich are even worse, more violent and more disgusting and spiteful than anyone who suffered any form of anything, because it's their entitlement. That wacko, I just want to get, I didn't talk to the wacko up at the fucking Morrison's in fucking Milton Keynes. He just talked to me when I was chaining my fucking bike up. The geezer was spent his 40 odd years back. The geezer's was a multi-millionaire, millionaire's son, got a spoilt little brat, and all these, I want to see the world burn, and he hates the world because he didn't get that money. Not because he ever suffered, just because he didn't get what he thought he was going to get, the riches that his fucking old man had fucking earned. Spiteful little fucking fat blob of a cunt of a human being. Sad little loser. They're worse. The spoiled and the rich are even worse and more spiteful than any fucking poor person, because they're just wackos on a different level. But they would do it, but they haven't got the ingredients to deal with the other fucking, the people that have had to fight. They don't have certain ingredients in them, although they want to do all those horrible, disgusting things that you see in the fucking media to your fellow human being. Which isn't the laws of nature. The laws of nature dictate that, I don't see any other animals, I don't see foxes ripping other foxes to shreds. I don't see badgers ripping other badgers to shreds. I don't see crows ripping other crows to shreds. I don't see other fucking sheep ripping other sheep to shreds. I don't see horses doing that either. What I see is that they're one fucking people. Yet a human being has been programmed from baby to become a violent, disgusting, fucking little cretin that dreams of killing everyone around it. If you don't see that, you wouldn't want to do that because you wouldn't know what that was. That's not up for discussion. Yet a mental patient would be desperate to hang on to what occupies their mind. I'm going to give you what occupies my mind. I'm giving you what occupies my mind. Because I'm away from that media. And the second you're away from that media, you see what that media is and what it does and how it influences your entire existence. I'm a leopard that can't change my spots, I'm afraid. Although I'm in much better control of them and I'm happy in that now. Whereas before, my anger and violence was my pastime. I won't call it my favourite pastime. It was exhausting and it could be a scorn on your life. But now I know why. And I understand it. I'm comfortable and it's under control now. And getting better and better in that control of it. Channeled aggression. Righteous aggression. And anger. So no one's going to tell me that it didn't happen. Down the road from my house, the council housed an illegal rave organisation and gave them money to also sell cannabis. Now, there was a massive crime wave associated with Exodus. Like, the proceeds of crime go to drug dealers to pay for drugs. That's why crime takes place. Now, I'm not going to have anyone's, oh, we've changed our ways now. We've realised that was a bad idea. Those people are dead now. No. Every person that was ever in government and their families are going to be held responsible, meaning Freemasons. All I get now is Freemasonry propaganda on Facebook, like loads of it, like little quotes, like how they program and govern all the other gays in the fucking little wackos in the asylum with 3 words and a sentence or a picture of a fucking lion or something like that. I'm going to execute every fucking one of you if I need to get what I need done. And I'm very comfortable in doing that because I've got about 30 people from my tribe that, are dead. That I'll avenge their deaths without a fucking thing, and you stealing my preciousest gift that I ever came to me, which was my son, which is what I'm getting to. I always worked. I wasn't a thief. And I just want to get to this again. Like, I hate my stepdad. I hate him more than words can put into. I don't, because I don't have time for it. But if you was to ask me, I would say, look, I hate him more than anyone. But I lived in fear of him, and he was strict, like my mum and that could be quite strict. A lot of my time when I was out was because I lied and said I was staying around someone else's house. My mum and that was strict. I weren't allowed to watch 18s. Well, when my stepdad was around, I was allowed when my mum was around and she was around her mate's house. But when my stepdad was around, I weren't allowed to watch 18s. I lived in fear of him, so I didn't get. I was threatened and made to by a Pakistani and made to fucking steal jeans when I was 11 years of age by a fucking man. And the shopkeeper clapped me up, and fucking, I didn't get clapped up, I got locked in my room for a month, but I lived in fear of getting expelled from school because a lot of everyone I knew was getting expelled on my estate and getting arrested and things. I had the police round for kicking a fence. We kicked a fence and I got fucking a caution for that, and I also got a caution for being in a stolen vehicle, which I got in for 2 seconds. And this was a little rich kid, Slimmer. I'll say he's Slimmer. I don't even know if Slim is alive or dead. It wouldn't surprise me either way. He's the sort of cunt that would still be around, but also the sort of geezer that would be dead as well. He was like a rich geezer from fucking, well, not rich, but better off from Bushmead, and he stole his mum's fucking car. He come round, me and fucking Troy got in the fucking motor, and his sister turned up that instant, and he fucking reversed the car into his sister, run his sister over, and jumped out the car and punched her in the face. Now that is, he was like a complete wacko, like rich kid, richer kid, that the media was governing like everything that geezer did. He didn't give a fuck about no one. He was just a fucking cunt. And Exodus was a massive part of that as well. But yeah, I literally got in the car for 2 seconds, and yeah, I got caution for that. So I was in fear of the repercussions of getting done. So I didn't burgle any, and I thought burgling houses was disgusting as well. So it's a crime that I think is disgusting. So you actually go into someone's private space and taking their personal belongings. I kept lookout on a few car robberies and things like that as a kid. I was involved in loads of criminal damage, which are all bad crimes and target vulnerable people, but they make sure that they make that happen. So they put council estates in the middle of rich areas. You've got to have a poor for crime. That's why you have a three-tier system in society. Without the poor, you don't get the crime. Without the crime, you can't get the police state, the cameras, and the governance and the control of everyone, which is for the massive takedown. But the mental patient, rich, welcome all of that. They can go fuck themselves. I don't care about what the society has to offer. I operate for the landscape. I don't give a fuck about human beings. Now, I have, again, another thing that's been the most used word since I've been on here is the goat, but I am Capricorn and born 1979 is the year of the goat. That would make me the goat at the back from that, which is also fucking thing as above, so below. I've been over it. He has coagula on one arm, which means to bring together, and to solve on the other. I'll take that. I'm the false prophet. I'm not the prophet of fucking. I'm not here to be the prophet of man. I'm the enemy of man. Never mix that up. I am not the fucking prophet of man. I'm the enemy of man. The creator of life is the enemy of man and hates man for everything it has done to fucking creation. End of. Your little fucking mental illness and your fucking little cunt heads don't matter a fuck to me. They don't matter a fuck to the creator. Now I'm, in the fictional world of El Capitan, the fucking son of the creator. Everyone thinks he's a madman, so they've got nothing to worry about. Or do they? Anyway, cannabis is the biggest problem of drugs. Even if they legalise it, be sold in the streets, they're not getting away with doing that at all. The lives that have been destroyed, meaning people put in prison, people dying from the drugs, extra drugs, because a lot of people stop smoking cannabis and go on to other drugs because the cannabis tells them they're not shouldn't really be taking those other drugs, and they don't like it. But by that stage, they've already gone on to the chemical highs, because the chemical high is more intense than the natural hashish is just like, it's a fucking charges you up a little bit, and you fucking, because you get buzzing for a little while, and then it will knock you out with a few beers, and then you go eat a bit of food and go sleep. It doesn't affect you fucking anything about you. Alcohol is a million times worse than that. But the drug itself and the way it has been used by society, the media, Bob Marley and the Rastafarians advertising it to everyone in the media to get all the children to smoke it and think that it was great to smoke, along with all the other reggae stars and then the fucking rap stars, and that them being put into your streets in society. These drugs don't come from Great Britain. It's impossible to grow the cannabis plant in Great Britain. Now they've crossed it and mutated it with some rurales or something like that, some fucking, I can't remember the fucking name of it, to some Siberian cannabis relative of the cannabis plant they claim. So so it's an auto flower, so it can grow under 24-hour light. They've just made a fucking mutant, because what they're selling now is mutant shit, not the natural fucking shit that would grow outside. It was originally banned and under fucking the laws, and they're now trying to claim that shit is medicine, the mutant chemical shit. So Luton had a rave organisation that was allowed to fucking, they were paid money to live just down the road from my house, like less than a mile away, where I spent the majority, large amounts of my childhood there on drugs, going to the raves, wanting to go to the raves that was also put on national TV and celebrated. I see Biggity Bigs in the Witherspoons in the winter, or late spring, or spring, just after I got back from Bristol. Why he was in there, I don't know. He may have been there to, it could have just been a fluke. I left out the back because I've got no need to talk to that cunt right now. But that would be someone who would be very high on the fucking list of examples. Your road boy. Your boy. And he may have been there to thrash out his differences with me, you know what I mean? Spiritually, sexually, basically, yeah. Everyone had to understand that cunt was God. And if you didn't identify him as God, he'd beat the fuck out of you with either a few other big massive black geezers, or a load of fucking Pakistanis. Sexually, we had all these young little girls around that hero worshipped us, yeah, and if they didn't do what we wanted sexually, like, we thrashed it out with them and give them a few black eyes and all that, yeah, you know what I mean? Get me and all that. Jarastafari. Haile fucking Selassie. Go fuck yourself, you fucking little clown. And you fucking I ain't gonna put up with it, because my entire existence has been targeted by drugs and their porn. So these affected by it all. So it's up to them to I'm a kafir. I'm not a Catholic. I'm a kafir. I'm a Gnostic Catholic Christian, meaning that everything is about confession. You need to confess your sins and redeem yourself, or you will pay the ultimate price. Forgiveness is for everyone. Everyone is a mental patient, but you will need to confess your fucking sins and redeem yourself. That's to everyone. I've made it very clear that every single human being on this soil as it is will be made a welcome fucking guest, and will be accommodated accordingly, and will be treated equally to everybody, and nobody will get any less than what I get. But that's only once it's got to a certain stage. It has to be fear. It has to be fear that governs these little motherfucking mental patients, because the mental patients don't fucking listen. I'm trying to do this the most reasonable way, otherwise it will just go down where I don't give a fuck, and I know that there's no other way other than just to blow the fuck and murder as many of these little motherfucking little cunt humans as you can. Destroy them, wipe them out, because they are the complete destruction of creation. They are the devil. Man is the devil. Because man is the minion of the devil, whatever man is, whatever the devil is. The devil could literally be a human being that managed to invent a machine or something so that they can survive a long time. Live for a very long period of time. Just destroy everything. It could be a fluke, I don't know. Whatever it is. It don't matter what it is, I just know the fucking job that it looks like I've got to do right. See, this is from like my third pipe yesterday, or may even be my second, no, my third one. So there's literally, I've got nearly a whole pipe there. So you know, I've got down to like less than fucking a joint's worth a day from, which is would be like a pound, a couple of pound, and a 4 pack of beers. This stops many things. This stops me flipping out and it doesn't stop me doing those things or feeling those things. What it does is it just makes me too chilled out to bother going and doing those things. So if that comes to an end, I'll go and do those things because, you know what I mean. But that's what cannabis has created. The entire, what people would call the crimes, the, the majority of the crime then leads to other addictions, which are crack, heroin, cocaine, ketamine. There's loads. All are equally as bad and disturbed and fucked up. All. And prescription drugs. So I'm anti all drugs. I'm anti all drugs. What I smoke this and drink that a lot of the time it's just because I'm lonely and I'm bored, and it makes my loneliness and boredom better. And it's because that's what I've always done. I've done that my entire life. I've done that my entire existence from a very young age on a regular basis, like every fucking day if you could, from the age of fucking 11. You know, I'm not planning on living fucking an extra fucking 3 fucking miserable fucking years on my own and not having a fucking few drinks and a fucking few bits of hash, you know what I mean? So fuck it. It's a miserable existence, but I've been in this miserable existence my entire existence. It just took me the route to enlightenment to realise that I had nothing anyway. There was nothing. I never had anything. I've never had anything in this world. Nothing. Never any real friends. Just mental patients. From child age, I think you're real friends as children, but from a very young age, around the age of 10, it starts to fucking twist. It starts twisting from high school age, like viciously starts to twist out of proportions to what should be realities, the boundaries that are put in, using people's attraction to the opposite sex, money, and your interests. So they divide with your interests. So they're interested in that type of music, you're interested in that type of music. So you hate the other people for not liking what you like in life. Sports are another one they use. And what media you like to watch. So if you like watching gangster films and they like watching fucking love shit, you know what I mean? You're gay or fucking you're just some stupid bitch and we're badass motherfucking gangsters and we like gangster shit, you know what I'm saying? And white people were targeted with the craze and that gangster shit. I wanted to be a gangster, no different, but I'm not a street punk. to be a street punk. Because that's what the media has done. It got the youth of the black to want to be street punks, little street punks. Nothing more than a street punk. Now it's got white in it, and then it got white people to do it as well. Become street punks. Nothing but street punks. And my opponents are street punks. They're street punks. I don't have to worry about martial arts experts. They're fucking street punks or fucking... Because anyone asked to come in my direction, I already own you. Because they're already scared. Because if they're not clever enough to ask the question why they're being asked to come in my direction, I've already got you. And if you're watching me on a fucking TV and you're tuning in and watching what I'm saying, you'll be noticing that it's all weird and fucked up as well. So I already own you. Punks. Little punks. I don't worry about no one. Because I will either die or I won't. I'll either be going somewhere else or I won't. Everything dies. I don't worry too much about it. Although I spent my life dying and worrying about it my whole life. Oh my God. I've been dying every day of my life. What's the matter with me? I'm dying. I've got fucking cancer. I'm going to die. I think I'm going to die every fucking day of my life. I worry about dying. I've worried about dying my whole life. Every day of my life. Because that's what they do. They petrify you with death. And tell you, there's a million ways that you can die with all these illnesses, global warming, wars going off. You spend your whole life shitting yourself. You're going to die. No lift's different to every other mental patient. I've had every other mental patient's illness. Now I don't give a fuck about it. Because that is the reality of the reality anyway. You know. Life itself is different. All of this, the landscape powers something else. What it all means, I don't know. I haven't got a fucking clue. I think it powers something. I think it's like a giant solar panel that works and operates and gives energy to something bigger than a human being. And that vast amounts of insects and what you see out in on the landscape regarding flowers, regarding thistles, regarding weeds and things like that are like scar tissue. And they're the pollinators that bring back the forest. To the landscape. It's a live living organism, so no different than when you cut yourself. There's live living things that work out what needs to be done on that injury and then works out how to fucking do it. The insects are like the information characters, and the plants are what you see as grass, thistles, weeds, are the pollinators that will then regenerate skin growth or whatever on a cut. Something that's harmed the body. That's my little theory. But anyway, I'm not at those answers yet. If I ever get to them, what I am at is my life, what I think that I'm being trained to do, which is take down the asylum or take down the entire human race. I'm comfortable with both. Because although I see the good, and that was what I was saying earlier about my son's mum, she does have a side to her that is, like very caring. She young kids love her, love her. Like she could walk and like have about 10 fucking, all the kids would just be following her around. They love her, love her. She has a way with small children. They love her to bits. love her to bits. Maybe because she's childlike in her own brain, I don't know, but whatever it is, they love her. She has a thing, like kids love her. And she's very caring towards young babies and the babies. She's also very caring. She looked after her nan, and a lot of her mates wouldn't have done that to their nans. What she did, like going around cleaning her up and shit and all that. She has good sides to her, but she just causes like serious fucking drama and ruins lives wherever she goes. She's ruined a large amount of my life. Not ruined, but she ruined it. Yeah, she ruined it. With her lies, her actions. She's caused her entire family nothing but fucking worry and upset, and ruined large amounts of their lives as well. And she fucks over all her friends. She's just a selfish, spoilt little brat princess, mental patient that only cares really about herself. Although she does she does act in certain ways sometimes that are very admirable in a human being that I wouldn't or wouldn't have done. She has a nice side to her. A lot of human beings do have nice sides to her, but it doesn't make her a good human being. She's a much worse human being than I am. I've hurt people, been nasty to everyone. I'm nasty to a lot of people to their faces, but I don't cause them. I'm honest about it. And I'm not slimy about it, and I don't try and rip people off or target their lives that take from other people. Thief, basically. She's just a glorified little prostitute that scams her way into getting what she wants, because that's how she was trained as a child by her mum and society. That's what society does. So Exodus was howls down the road, advertised everywhere, and allowed to hold raves. You're not going to tell me that weren't. Well, I saw it as a child. So apparently it's 12, whatever age I was, 12, 11, nearly 12, 13, whatever. I went to a rave very young, and I walked through the doors, and it was just drug dealers, and they were all black. Mainly black geezers, big black geezers, dreads. From the rave drugs, see what people don't, the rave itself is a very fun thing to do, but what it does is it gets children taking drugs that aren't that harmful, so like amphetamines and ecstasy are not that harmful. They are addictive, and people do become addicted to them, but they don't have that, it's not as powerful effect, so it won't affect that many people with serious addiction to those drugs. It will literally be a social thing where they will have a lot of fun from them. But what it does is, because the media tells everyone that there's no danger, that you take drugs you're going to die, and then you start taking the drugs, and like I said before, like all the kids are telling you that it's great to go, but then you go and and once you've done some drugs, you're like, fucking hell, they're just lying, it ain't that bad. And what happens is that it's the in-between time from the raids, so the boredom starts to set in. And what Exodus did, using the police and the authorities, it was all one scam. So they give you the raids, and then they don't happen, and then they'd have like massive layoff periods, and it's the layoff period where the people, because when the rave's on, there's excitement around everyone. You go into we used to call it the dance. It was the dance. You go into the dance. It was the dance. Everyone knew it as the dance. It weren't a rave. It weren't exit. It was, are you going to the dance? Yeah, the dance. Everything was about the dance. So if the dance is going on every fucking 3 weeks, in those 3 weeks, you as a youngster, you prepare. Fuck everything else. I don't give a fuck. I'm getting to the dance, because the dance was the place you needed to fucking get to. Because you're a child, and it's aimed at like ridiculously young kids, because it's illegal. You're allowed to, you can go at any age. I went at fucking 12. So they're also holding raves in Luton Youth House, where I've just been over in Bletchley in the sanctuary, under 14s. So it's targeted at children. Like I said, it's all on top of the pops. They're showing you how to shock out on dance energy. But while the media is telling all the parents that it's the most evilest thing on earth, so it's how you split families up. You destroy families, which is what cannabis has done for many, many fucking years. Like, oh my God, they're on drugs, when all they're doing is getting a little bit tired and a little bit chilled out. Like, what's your fucking problem? Like, you wackos, you know what I mean? Like, because they seem like the mental patients, but they're only reacting to the media that they've seen, how society divides all populations and breaks up the home, because their aim is to break up the family unit and cause problems even inside the family unit. So you're not only just a fucking individual families in individual homes, you're a bunch of enemies that end up living with a bunch of cunts that you don't actually like, because society has taken you in a million different directions with your interests, with your friends, with the music, with the fucking scene. And education, because some people want to do good, so they see them as bad, when all you're doing is thinking, fuck that bollocks, fucking is bullshit. So the divide in the houses, and that's what cannabis does. It's a very harmless, it's nothing realistically, if it was just a natural thing. And again, hashish was why, because hashish lasts a long time. Other weed doesn't last that long. Now they put like chemicals in it, and they put a preservative in it, and they claim, oh yeah, we put it in these jugs, but what they've done is put something in there that makes all the buds curl up really tight, and it's like a preservative they're using to fucking the weed, so they don't lose money on it like they used to. And now it's like a sweets for little babies in the jars. Do you want the jars, little sweeties? We got sweetie flavours for you in the jars, like little fucking 2-year-old fucking babies, where you go and pick out the jars, like a little, like you used to in the fucking news agents, where you used to go and get a fucking mixture. You know what I mean? A quarter of sweets, rhubarb and custards, or cola cubes, or something like that. It was lucky to get a quarter of fucking cubes, but you know what I mean? If you got lucky and you got that much money one week, you'd fucking treat yourself to something, one of the jars behind the fucking counter instead of the under the counter fucking 10p mixture. You got the creme de la creme in the jars up the top shelf shit. It was on top shelf material, you know. Yeah, as a kid, you got under the counter fucking mixtures and top shelf material fucking creme de la creme sweets in the fucking quarter jars, you know what I mean, that you got in the back, you know what I mean? I'll have a quarter of them. Fucking hell. You knew you. Even with sugar, they do it as a child. It's a drug. It becomes like a drug. Fuck me, I need the sweets, man. I've got treats. Sugar is a drug to kids, because you start nicking the sweets as well, because you want that sugar shit. Yeah. You got the under the counter 20p mixtures. And then you got the top shelf material, you know what I mean? Rhubarb and custards and the fucking Werbians or whatever the fuck. The fucking bonbons. You got the fucking badass bonbons in the fucking jar. Top shelf material, you know what I mean? Even as a kid, you know what I mean? You're desperate to get that top shelf material shit. Fucking hell. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, cannabis is the cause of crime. That's what creates crime. Bike crime, burglaries, car crime. So all the things that predominantly that the good mental patients want protecting from, they don't give a fuck about the kids on drugs. They don't care that they're not protected by the authorities. That the authorities are actually doing everything in their power to ensure that, like making sure that that gets advertised on fucking TV. Advertised on TV, like drug dealers, like the people who created the entire crime wave and drug addiction of the vast amounts of the population in my town. It was one combined thing: the rave scene, the introduction of cannabis on the whole scale for my generation. Like the raves haven't ended, you know. Most everyone else is fucking like it died. The music scene died, so they have to hit, you know, it's dead. It's when it's not really that popular anymore, you know what I mean? Because the rave scene was so effective at it, of getting children onto drugs, because it's the pinnacle of it, using the artificial noises and sounds. The bass. I need a piss. I've just been thinking about this, but yeah, because that's only just come to me. But yeah, cannabis is like now like sweets, because it's all sweety flavors for little babies, for little gays. Fuck 'em. Fuck cannabis. I mean, I'm not anti. I'm anti it being something that is totally illegal, and I'm anti because the authorities know all of this, and they've always known it all. And it's just part of one big scam. So it doesn't matter what they do. You know, there's unless they do what I want them to do. Who knows? I was smoking this yesterday. You get loads out of a little fucking bit of hash, man. Loads. It's tiny. I've got no tobacco. I'm drinking beer as well, because without the beer, it's very hard to. You end up sneezing. Like this can fuck you up. It should fuck you up like a fucking harsh liquor. You know what I mean? So you don't want too much of it because it fucks you up. You know what I mean? Like a harsh liquor. So you have a harsh. You like the buzz. You suffer to get that buzz. You know you're going to suffer to get the buzz. You know what I mean? But you can't. They make it nearly impossible unless you're like the strictly hardcore. That, you know, I can't sit there and smoke this as much as I can smoke weed because it's too harsh on your lungs. Although I feel a million times better for it the next day. That day when I'm smoking it, like now, I'll start to get a bit croaky and all that because it starts clogging up my lungs. But the next day, I'm fucking sweet. It's better. Much better, whereas the other weed makes me cough in a completely different fucking way. That's why it's the leaf. It's just the leaf, not the flower or the fruit. And it doesn't have the effects of cannabis. You won't do it. Doesn't like it does later on. It will mash you up and you'll be sleepy. charges me up. I get buzzed up. It gives me energy, like for fucking, especially if I'm fucking drinking a bit. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave the video there. Watch it back, and then I'm gonna fucking follow it on. I'll leave it there. I've just barely gone over what I needed to fucking say. I might make a training video, I doubt it. I'm just gonna leave it there. Leave it at that. That'll do for this video.